Those in support of the motion that the votes and proceedings on Wednesday, the 3rd day of May 2017, number 2, be now approved, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Announcements. Dear colleagues, members of management and Students Association, Department of Administration, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Kaduna State, and staff and students of Deeper Life High School, Kaduna State are here to watch our proceedings. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Senate. Please settle down. Any petition? All right. Point of order, Senator Ademo.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Hope Uzodinma. I represent the good people of Imo West. I rise under Order 42 and 52. Mr. President, if you permit me, I'll read.
Go ahead.
The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. 2. If the claim is allowed by the President of the Senate and the leave of the Senate is given by at least 1/5 of all the senators, the matter shall stand over to the next legislative day. 3. Not more than one such motion may be made at the same sitting. 52. Notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President,
go ahead. Sorry, let me put the question. Is it the wish of the Senate that will take this motion today? Those supposed to say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate recalls that on Tuesday, 15th November 2016, debated a motion on the urgent need to examine the operations of the Nigeria Customs Service Revenue Drive and resolved to mandate the Committee on Customs, Excise and Tariff to carry out a holistic investigation into the activities of the service with a view to identifying the leakages and irregularities in the import and the export sector, as well as causes of the declining revenue profile of the service, and come up with recommendations. Mr. President, we've gone into this assignment, and honestly speaking, we have identified between 2006 to 2017 over 30 trillion naira worth of foreign exchange in form of approved Form M meant for import, for which there is no evidence that the goods came into the country. Rather, what the commercial banks did is they applied for this foreign exchange, and the central bank allocates foreign exchange to them. These monies are transferred to foreign banks, and there is no shipping documents to show that the goods came in. So they have been round-tripping with the limited foreign exchange we have in Nigeria. Secondly, the recent one, which is mind-blowing, is that shipping companies will load now full cargoes, goods worth of billions of naira, and they will come into the country. They go into what they call bonded warehouse terminals. They will offload. Nigerian government will not collect one kobo. All they do informal negotiations with the terminal operators, the regulators, and then they will offload, which is an international crime. So we have identified over 228 vessels with their destination numbers, with the terminals where they offloaded, and we assess through World Customs Organizations as SCUDA database, tracking every shipment, every vessel that came and offloaded. Thirdly, there is this recent act all the Asian companies moving all their goods to Cotonou, Benin Republic. And these goods are meant for Nigerian market. And honestly speaking, by midnight, the vessel will just stay and change their documents as if the shipment is being done from either Côte d'Ivoire or Cotonou, and they move in. Mr. President, we are losing trillions of naira annually as a result of these infractions. There is incorrect classification, undervaluation, underdeclaration, incorrect origin. Mr. President, the Customs Service, the matter is a technical service. Nigerian Ports Authority is complacent. There is no control anywhere. As a matter of fact, the entire import and export sector, they are on rampage. And the money we are losing is even more than what we get from crude oil. And the government is not doing anything. So I want to bring it to the notice of the Senate and then request that the Senate Committee on Marine Transport should join our investigation to enable us also deal with some of those agencies under their control. I submit. Thank you, sir.
Is there anybody seconding the motion? Okay. DC2.
I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Okay. It's not controversial unless any person still wants to contribute. Okay. I think it's one single prayer to enable the Committee on Marine Transport to join this investigation. Those in support of the prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So the Committee on Marine Transport will now join the Committee on Custom to have a holistic investigation into this matter. I think this is one area the law enforcement agencies must move in quickly to ensure that these monies are recovered. We cannot be going to China and all over the world trying to borrow money when we can recover easily some of the money that were lost through some corrupt practices. So I think that this is an area the Senate must be praised, for actually blowing a whistle. This is the real whistle. So we commend Hope Uzodimma and his team. We do hope that this will yield quickly the enough money to enable us to implement the 2017 budget. Thank you so much. State Leader. Yes, Madam Bacha.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Emmanuel Boacha. I represent Taraba South. Mr. President, I rise on the strength of Order 43, personal explanation, which reads that by the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon the explanation. I believe the matter in question is not controversial because it involves lives of my constituent, Mr. President. The early hours of today, 3 a.m. to be precise, some gunmen invaded a community in my constituency, in Takum local government, to be precise, and slaughtered about 5 individuals. An operation very typical of the Boko Haram attacks. Mr. President, I had raised a question concerning Boko Haram parading as salesmen on this floor of the Senate before. And the matter was debated. A number of our colleagues believed that they were herdsmen. And I insisted they were Boko Haram. Later, this position was agreed upon or confirmed by the government. I remember the Minister of Interior did agree that most of these operations, they are not herdsmen, that they are actually the insurgents. This was a confirmation of the alarm I raised before. And I continue to wonder why these activities is going on unabated. And the worrisome aspect of it, people continue to address these people as herdsmen. I disagree, I beg to disagree that these people are not herdsmen. The herdsmen we know that have lived with us are not these ones. They don't kill. We have lived with them. We had interacted peacefully. We go even to their settlement that we normally call Rugas, and we even, drink their furas and all that. But these particular ones, I have every evidence and every reason to believe that these are the insurgents that are displaced from the war theater in Borno. And because they also have cows, they go about all parts of the nation, killing without hindrance and making the world believe. Okay, for instance, if they are herdsmen, what reason do they have to be killing people like this? I keep saying this. So I think the government must rise up to its responsibility, being that the protection of lives and property or properties is the primary responsibility of the government. Government must be seen doing this. And the worrisome aspect of it, in some areas, security operatives appear to be, nonchalant about this. I think the armed forces must rise up and ensure that the war has not ended yet in Borno, because the committee that this Senate set up to investigate the presence of insurgents in Taraba State confirmed that they are in Taraba in their numbers. And this is a new strategy to kill with impunity, believing that they are herdsmen. They are not. And so I raise this alarm for the security operatives to understand that the war against insurgents is assuming a new dimension. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, this is coming under Order 43. It's actually not open to debate. But I saw State Abdullah Adamu raising his hand. So if you permit me, let me hear his view before I summarize, because as I said, he came under Order 43. So I hope you are not going to open up any debate. Abdullah Adamu.
There is no debate, okay. I appreciate and respect that position, Mr. President. I only want to emphasize, in support of the observation made by my distinguished colleague, that yes, what we see, and I've been talking about herdsmen, these people are not necessarily herdsmen. We have reason to believe that quite a number of these are insurgents just operating in a kind of, under a new kind of platform they create for themselves to divert the attention of the authorities. We had similar experience, or will be having similar experience in Nasarawa State. And I want to say on the floor of this hallowed chamber that in our situation, we have seen government security forces really come out with their teeth and have been able to make arrests and have been able to get some of the stolen properties from people, recovered, and people came to identify. They not only kill, they kidnap, they harass families, they commit rape, the kind of thing that are known with the Boko Haram. This is the traits that have been identified with these same people. So it is true. But what I do not quite want to agree, the parting point only is, I don't say the authority is doing nothing. The authority actually is doing something. But we may not have gotten the full weight of the results of the intervention of government forces in this regard. But I think we owe government a duty to appreciate when they do work. And the one I've seen government really take steps to avert some of the disasters that people are causing.
Well, thank you, distinguished colleagues. As I said, this matter came under Order 43 and should be open to any form of debate. So on behalf of the Senate, I would like to sympathize with the families that lost their dear ones and say that this is quite regrettable. So please, I would like to appeal to the people of Taraba and the communities involved to remain calm while our law enforcement agencies, especially the armed forces, will ensure that they crack down those behind these killings. We actually sympathize with our law enforcement agencies, especially the military, the armed forces. They are really, really overstretched. Nigeria is such a big country in terms of size and population, and the number of soldiers and policemen we have can never adequately address this issue. So that's why some of us are advocating for a review of our belief on the issue of decentralization of police, so that we'll be able to have enough people everywhere to police our territory. You know, today the armed forces, our policemen, the customs, the immigration, the Navy, the Air Force, they are completely overstretched. They are fighting kidnappers, they are fighting Boko Haram, they are fighting all kinds of insurgents, they are fighting kidnappers, they are fighting terrorists, you know, they are fighting pirates. You know, so the challenge is just enormous. So we actually sympathize with them. We just do hope that we'll find a policy of decentralizing some of these things so that some states who can afford it can also supplement what the federal government is doing. So once more, our condolences to the families who lost their dear ones. Thank you. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Joint Committee on Appropriation and Finance on the Appropriation Bill 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite very distinguished Ranking Senator Danjuma Goje, Chairman of the Committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I have just been informed. Well, Senator Goje, the Chairman of the Appropriations Committee, is not here. And I've just been informed, reliably informed, that the Committee on Appropriations of the Senate is presently meeting with the House Committee on Appropriations to cross the T's and dot the I's of the 2017 budget by harmonizing, and I've also equally been informed that by the grace of God, definitely the budget 2017 will be laid on Tuesday. Having said this, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I will move that we stand down the presentation of this report till Tuesday, the next legislative day, that is next week, and I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, in view of the explanation given over this matter, I rise to second the motion that we step down this item till the next legislative day. I so second.
Dear colleagues, before I put the question, let me also emphasize for the benefit of the public that we are minded to receive this report today. It was only this morning that it was also necessary for us to ensure that we're on the same page with the House of Reps to avoid any possible conferencing. So what we would like to see is the House and the Senate laying just the same document so that once we pass, we will now send it to the President for assent. So I think it is important that this point be made and the public know, and that the harmonization which is going on should be concluded over the weekend to enable us to receive the budget report by Tuesday, and then by the grace of God have it passed next week, and we'll send it to the President for assent. And let me also inform the public as well that yes, the tenure of the 2016 budget ends tomorrow, the 5th, because it was passed on the 5th of May 2016. But under the Constitution, the federal government is entitled to continue to spend money based on 2016 estimates up to the 30th day of June 2017. But we will not allow us to get into that reliance on the constitutional provision. Hopefully, by the grace of God, we'll have this budget next week. We'll pass it so that the implementation will start in earnest. So I just want to appeal for the understanding of the people of Nigeria. Thank you. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committees on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Foreign Affairs, and Anti-Corruption on the mutual assistance in criminal matters between Nigeria and other foreign state bill 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite very distinguished Senator David Umaru, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Sir Umaru.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is David Umaru. I represent Niger East. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move the motion that the Senate do receive the report of the joint committees on judiciary, human rights and legal matters, foreign affairs, and anti-corruption on the mutual assistance in criminal matters bill between Nigeria and foreign states. I so move.
Senator Barrow.
Mr. President, my name is Barrow Jibrin. I stand to second the motion ably moved by distinguished Senator David Umaru. I so second.
Dear colleagues, those in support that Senate do not receive this report say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator David Umaru can proceed to lay the report. We expect that the Committee on Rules and Business will schedule this as quickly as possible so that we'll get it behind us and then so that it will come into force as quickly as it can. Say, Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committee on Environment on the Erosion Control and Prevention Commission Bill 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Chairman of the Committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the distinguished Chairman is not here. I would therefore move that the report, the presentation, be stood down till another legislative day.
I'm a member and he has given me the report today.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
So you should have told him at the Yobe caucus this early in the morning now. All right, go ahead, Lee. You have to resolve this Yobe issue.
Mr. President, there is no Yobe issue. There is no issue in Yobe. Yobe is united.
Amen.
And working. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me withdraw my earlier statement. The report will be presented by a very distinguished and ranking Senator, Dr. Bukar Abba Ibrahim.
CON.
So I don't have to repeat that now. Mr. President, sir, I rise to move that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters on the Erosion Control and Prevention Commission Bill. In the absence of the chairperson, I have been given the report and authorized to lay it.
Establishment is environment.
Well, that's what is here. Secretariat.
It's environment.
Have you finished? Leader, can you go and help him, please? Put on a microphone so that I record it.
I have the report here, so what is there really is a mistake. The Secretariat needs to correct it.
Yes.
What I have here is the committee report on environment. Mr. President, sir.
Senator Adamu, can you help him to second the motion? Adamu.
Junior Senator.
Mr. President, I am Abdullahi Adamu. I represent the Southwest. I remain very, very loyal. To that extent, I will second, if reluctantly, the motion moved by my junior colleague, Senator Abba.
Thank you, Abdullah Adawu. Senator Bukrama, can you go ahead and lay the report? Eh? He's going to lay the report. He has moved the motion. Okay. Those in support that this report be received, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Can proceed to lay the report. All right, thank you so much. Stay leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is a motion standing in my name on the executive communication from Mr. President CNC on the 2016-2018 external borrowing rolling plan. The distinguished senators will recall that the request from Mr. President CNC was read on Wednesday, the 26th of April 2017. Mr. President, with your permission, I wish to move that the request be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, for the approval of the federal government's 2016 to 2018 external borrowing rolling plan. I so second.
Dear colleagues, those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. It's referred to the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts to report back within 2 weeks. Say leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is a motion standing in the name of very distinguished Senator Francis Elemekena on the urgent need for the repair and reconstruction and dualization of Okene, Auchi, Ekpoma, Benin Road. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Francis Elemekena to move the motion.
Senator Francis Elemekena.
Mr. President, thank you very much. My name is Francis Alimikena, representing the good people of Edo North. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move this motion for the urgent need for the repairs through reconstruction and dualization of Okene to Auchi to Ewu, Ekpoma, and Bini Road. Mr. President, the Senate knows that the road infrastructure is critical for economic and commercial development and is one of the most visible signs of government presence in any community or state. Observe that Okene, Auchi, Ewu, Ekpoma, Bini Road is the only major highway that connects south-south, southeast to Abuja and the northern part of Nigeria. Worried that the last section of the road, especially from Okene to Auchi, Ekpoma to Bini, has become dangerous crater that cannot longer be served as road. It will be impossible to access if not repaired before the rainy season. Mr. President, the Senate is aware that the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, used to do palliative road maintenance on this road. However, since 2016, FEMA has abandoned its responsibility. This has led to the total collapse of the road, thus making it difficult to access, especially from Auchi to Ewu to Ekpoma section of the road. Concerned that travel time between Abuja to Bini used to be 6 hours, but with the total collapse of the road, now average about 10 hours. Disturbed that armed robbers and kidnappers, taking advantage of the totally deplorable state of the road, have become a law unto themselves, ambushing, robbing, dispossessing, and killing commuters at will on a daily basis. The Senate knows that the state of the road requires immediate rehabilitation to reduce the unacceptable level of accidents, robbery, and kidnapping on the road. Mr. President, the Senate is aware that the contract for the dualization and construction of the road was awarded to some contractors over 6 years ago, and that in 2016 appropriation budget, the sum of 5 billion was allocated to the two sections of the road, leaving the section from Auchi to Ewu. Observe that this method of selective allocation of funds adopted by the Ministry of Powers, Works and Housing in allocating funds on this road is worrisome to our people. The Senate observed that this method of selective allocation of funds adopted by the Ministry of House and Works is allocating funds on this road is worrisome to our people, worried that since, in spite of the 5 billion allocation, the contractor abandoned the work on the road on the grounds that the fund allocated for the project was not cashed back. Mr. President, accordingly resolved to all the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing to urgently mobilize the contractor to site. 2, urge FEMA and the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing to urgently repair the failed portion of the road, especially from Auchi to Ewu and to Ekpoma section of the road. 3, all the federal government to ensure cash backing for the project in the 2017 budget. And 4, to mandate the Senate Committee on Works to carry out effective oversight on the project before the rainy season commences fully. Mr. President, I so move.
Senator Parker.
Mr. President, Senator Porter Emmanuel is my name. I rise to support this motion, ably moved by my colleague. Mr. President, the road in question, like he mentioned on the second item of the motion, is that this is the only link between the South-South, the Southeast, and the rest of the country. Mr. President, on a daily basis, our people are suffering on that road because of the state of disrepair. Mr. President, if we allow this road to stay in this type of situation until the rain sets in, commuters will suffer a very great deal. So I agree with the mover of the motion that everything be put in place, especially FEMA, that palliative measures can be done to save the integrity of this road. Mr. President, the section between Auchi through Okene, through Poma, is actually very bad. And when we're operating through Kaduna and some of us decide to take this long journey to Bayelsa, that aspect of the road will take you not less than 8 hours. Mr. President, I implore every person on floor to support this motion, and then not only supporting the motion, to make sure that those people that are vested with the powers of putting this road in good shape should go and do it immediately. Mr. President, with these few remarks, I support this motion in its entirety, and I believe that the next few weeks, work should commence on this road. I so second, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jones Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. My respected colleagues, James Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, this is a very straightforward motion, and it does that we need to emphasize. Otherwise, this motion came up earlier in the year by Senator Odia, representing Edo Central, and now another Edo State Senator, Senator Francis Ali Mekena. I'm so I got the pronunciation right, Ali Mekena. I know I'm a Delta man, so of course you trust. I can pronounce the name correctly. No, yes. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, there are so many link roads between the North and the South. But if you put all of them together, this particular road appears to be the major link road between the north and the south. It links the entire north and the entire south on the other side. And therefore, anytime you're on that road, you know that you are on a very major road. If you are going to the south, for example, and if you don't want to pass through certain corners, if you want to go direct, you will definitely pass through that road. And believe you me, Mr. President, the road is in a very bad shape. No doubt about that. Very, very bad. And therefore, the Honorable Minister of Power, Works and Housing, if he didn't know about a motion that was moved here and the prayers approved by the Senate some time ago, he should now realize that this is yet another one, making the second within 3 months, calling on him to do something about that road. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, particularly communities that are there in Edo State are terribly affected along the road because the road passes through these communities, and these communities are in very bad shape because the road is very bad, Mr. President. So when we get to the prayer, because a contract is already awarded, and therefore farmer cannot mobilize society because there's a contract that is on ground. So it's just for the Ministry of Works, Housing and Power to encourage these contractors to go to site. And then when you talk about 2017 budget, the budget is still with us. We have not passed it. So it is left for us, while crossing the T's and dotting the I's, for us to do the needful, to ensure that something is provided. The committee chairman is not here, appropriation. So that this motion is not the prayer. When we go to the prayers, it's not to the executive committee now, for the National Assembly to do something about this budgeting for making provision for this particular road. Mr. President, with these few words, I think I want to urge all my other colleagues, for obvious reasons, this argument cannot be expanded too far, for obvious reasons, because time is very, very short. Thank you.
Senator Bukaraba.
Mr. President, sir, remain Senator Bukaraba Ibrahim, representing Yobe East Senatorial District. So, even though I know nothing about the road we are talking about, I totally agree with my earlier colleagues who spoke on the matter, because I know there are several such roads all over the country. And there's need for the Committee on Works to take up this matter, Federal Ministry of Works. The annual budgetary allocation of a few billion naira here and there cannot solve our road projects, road problems. There's need for a new approach to funding roads in this country. Even though everything in the country is important, roads are one of the most essential things in any community. And there is need for us to change our style. And there's need for us to look for funds from wherever we can get, no matter whether it will take 30, 40, 50, or whatever years to refund. These roads actually can even refund the monies, whatever loans we take to construct them. There's need for public-private partnership, a very serious one on Nigerian roads. Having said that, sir, there is need to correct one sentence there in the motion. Worried that in spite of the 5 billion allocation, not 58 billion allocation, that's what is here. I don't know whether... Huh?
Yeah, you're right. When I was reading it.
Did you?
Yes.
I didn't hear you.
What is it to this? So what is 5
He said 5 billion. He said, Secretary, please take note. It's 5 billion.
5 billion.
Yes. All right, thank you. Senator Kofi.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. My name is Umar Ibrahim Kurifi, representing Catholic Center. Let me first of all congratulate the mover of this motion about this very important motion. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the problems now we're having with road accident, as far as we all know, is numerous. The accident now we're getting on this road, I followed this road about 6 months ago, but even the vehicle I saw on the road, parked on the road because of accident, are numerous. So many lives have been lost. So, Mr. President, This kind of thing is encouraging a lot of things. So many people are taking this to kidnap. So many robbers are always there, and even you find the vehicles there being abandoned. So, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I think, as the previous said, my speaker said, Senator Morgan, that what we should do, Mr. President, is let us go around and find out all these roads. They are all common. Let me give you a typical example. From Gusau to Sokoto, they have similar things. From Zaria to Kano, there are similar things. From Kano to Maiduguri, there are similar things. So I think, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, let us ask the Ministry of Works to go around and find out all these things. And another important thing which we should note, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, is about these payments, the way they are repairing the road. It's not the best. Payments, they will just go and dig the holes. You will find that last week I was in Kano, Zaria. So many holes were digged, but none of them was big. So we'll find that they will dig the holes, then it will take them another 3-4 weeks to come back and fill it. So, Mr. President, the distinguished colleague, payments should do it. Whatever, even if they are going to do 5 holes, let them do 5 holes and fill the 5 holes. Because what they are doing, they are not helping situations, they are even worsening the situation. So I think this is a very good motion. I don't think we should discuss, but I think it's something we should consider, and I so submit, sir.
All right, we'll take Gobert, then Hope Uzodinma, and then we'll go to the prayers. Sir Gobert.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues. I rise to support this motion that was actually presented by my colleague, that's Chief Whip, Ali Mechanic. The road is in a very bad shape. I followed that road. You cannot even overtake anybody if you go there. In fact, it's full of potholes, totally dilapidated, and there is a lot of traffic along the road. So, in fact, all these bad eggs take advantage of that, particularly the umbrellas. So I think it's very important that we go ahead and do this, particularly, especially the money that has been budgeted for that. So that money should be totally utilized to make sure that the road is well taken care of. So I think it's very important that we expedite this action to go ahead and do this. Thank you very much. I support it very well.
Senator Uzodinma.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. In addition to the contributions by my colleagues, I recall vividly that in 2005, the Federal Executive Council approved a transport master plan. And in that transport master plan, as an attachment was a viability study. And this road was singled out as one of the most critical roads of the country. And government, I understand, is a continuum. I'm surprised that proper funding has not been provided for this road. I would therefore want to say that the National Assembly, indeed the Senate, in their wisdom, should do everything possible to see that this particular road is accommodated in this year's budget. Because this road is very critical, it's the only link, like as contained in this motion, linking the east, the south-south, and our federal capital. So this road is very important, and the last time I passed through that road, the road was in a state of serious disrepair. And I think as having the powers of appropriation, that it will be a good thing to Nigeria, indeed to humanity, if that road is meant to work, so that we can have access to the various sectors of our economy coming from that geographical divide. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, very distinguished colleagues. I would like to thank Senator Francis Alamekena for raising this issue. Senator Francis is a very serious-minded senator, so for him to raise this matter, I believe there's cause for concern. And I just want to appeal to our various state governments that matters such as this, if they can, let them intervene without necessarily waiting for the federal government. After it's the same people that apply these roads, whether it's federal road or state road. So I just want to appeal that sometimes do not have to wait for federal government to do some of these things. Where the states can afford, they should please endeavor to reconstruct these roads and then go for possible refund from the federal government. And I say this with every sense of responsibility, because what happens is that when these roads are in very bad situation, it's not only the federal government that's been abused, the people who apply the roads also abuse state governments. So any level of government that can afford to do this road should, as much as possible, And I'm aware that some endeavor to do that. I'm aware that some state governors have embarked in the construction or reconstruction of federal roads. And I think something that we need to commend. And it is also time we also make sure that the alternative means of fixing our roads is deployed, including the private sector participation, which is the standard all over the world. So, and I'm happy that appropriate legislation has been put in place to ensure that that happens. So having said this, distinguished colleagues, we will now quickly go to the prayers. Prayer 1, urge the Federal Minister of Power, Works and Housing to urgently mobilize the contractor to site. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge FEMA and the Minister of Works, Power, Works and Housing to urgently repair the failed portions of the road, especially the Auchi, Ewu, Eboma sections. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the federal government to ensure cash backing for the project in the 2017 budget. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And finally, mandate the Senate Committee on Works to carry out effective oversight on the project before the rainy season commences fully. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Bala Ibn Allah on the incessant boat mishap and loss of life in the Yauri end of the River Niger. Urgent need for federal government intervention. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Bala Ibn Allah to move the motion.
Senator Nala.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. The Senate notes the recent boat mishap in Ngaski local government area in Kebbi South, senatorial district of Kebbi State, with 26 lives, where 26 lives were lost, while some persons are still missing and unaccounted for in the River Niger. Concerned that the issue of boat mishap have become a recurring yearly issue with incessant loss of lives and property. Aware that these same communities were the very communities resettled by the then Northern Regional Government in order to build the current Kayenji Dam to provide electricity to the country. This thought that despite the development, which has become an annual unfortunate occurrence, nothing has been done to prevent future recurrence. And accordingly, the Senate urged the Ministry of Transport through the National Inland Waterways Authority to immediately conduct a survey into the stretch of River Niger in the area with a view to putting safe navigational aid in place. 2, urge the federal government to assist the communities in blasting the big stones and cutting the big trees in the river that hinder safe navigation around the area. And 4, urge the National Emergency Management Agency to assist the communities with relief materials in order to cushion the effect of the disaster. And finally, Mr. President, to urge the government to assist the communities with more than 50-seater boats in order to alleviate the transportation needs of the community. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, let me just and tell you the sad history of this community. It was a community that was resettled for the purpose of building the Kayenji Dam to provide electricity for this nation. Sadly, I will tell you that as of today, despite these years and the sacrifice that this community has done, it is without good drinking water and without electricity as it stands today. That is the sad situation. And I will equally urge my colleague to understand the fact that despite this experiencing pain, the community has remained consistently loyal to the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But there are growing concerns. And of course, those of my friends from the Niger Delta will know how these things start. And I think that it is important that we nip this in the bud. What actually happened is that, Mr. President, they only use this plank canoe to transport people across the river. And every year when the water level goes down, we have this problem because the
navigational area has not been So this is really the situation, and I urge my colleague to look at this very disturbing aspect and to support this motion. I so move. Thank you very much.
Senator Lero.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I remain Muhammad Adam Alero. I represent Kebbi Central. Mr. President, I rise to support this very important motion ably moved by the Deputy Senate Leader. It is true that the Ngeske community in Kebbi State are seriously suffering from environmental degradation as a result of the construction of Kainji Dam. Kainji Dam was constructed not only to provide electricity, but also to provide water for irrigation. But sadly, almost 40 years after the construction, the communities are yet to be rehabilitated. Not only that, Mr. President, drinking water and also educational facilities are very difficult to be provided in that area because the area is waterlogged. It is even difficult to move unless you have boats. And unfortunately, the depth of the river is very shallow. And this is why when the dam was constructed by the then northern Nigerian government, the idea was to dredge the river Niger from the Niger Delta out to Baro and Yauri. And that is the only way you can solve the problem of movement along the waterway in that area. So this motion is very timely, it's apt. We have lost a lot of lives as a result of non-provision of navigational aids along the river. So I support this motion in its entirety, and I urge all my colleagues to overwhelmingly do the same. Thank you.
All right, I think it's very straightforward, distinguished colleagues, and the point has been made. I'll appear that I'll go straight to the prayers. Prayer 1, urge the Minister of Transport through the National Inland Waterways Authority to immediately conduct a survey into the stretch of River Niger in the area with a view to putting a safe navigational aid in place. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against saying the ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the federal government to assist the communities in blasting the big stones and cutting the big trees in the river that hinder safe navigation around the area. Those about the prayer say aye. Those against saying the ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the National Emergency Management Agency to assist the communities with relief materials in order to cushion the effect of the disaster. Those about this prayer say aye. Those against saying the ayes have it. And finally, urge the government to assist the communities with more than 50-seater boats in order to alleviate the transportation needs of the communities. Those who vote on this prayer say aye. Those against saying the ayes have it. Say leader. General prayer. Kofi.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Once again, my name is Senator Umar Kulifi from Katsina Central. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, there is need for provision of insurance. Provision of insurance for the books. All passengers should be insured. You cannot go and enter aircraft without insurance. So all these books who are entered, because people are losing life, and nobody who they will leave dependent. So why do they go to? So the passengers, they pay fare. They pay fare. Let them have.
No worry, any person supporting this additional prayer? Any seconder? All right, thank you. Stay leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Maritime University of Nigeria, Okore Konko, Establishment ETC Bill 2017. Distinguished senators will record that the report of the committee was laid on Tuesday, 11th April 2017. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Jibrin Barau, chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Mr. Barrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Barrow Jibrin. I represent Kano North. This is a very important bill because it will help us to actualize our 2.2 million barrel per day oil production in this country if this bill is finally passed. Mr. President, I do move that this August Senate do consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Third Fund on the Maritime University of Nigeria, Okarankoko, Establishment ETC Bill 2017 SB 295. Mr. President, I so move.
Senator Manager.
Mr. President, my respected colleagues, James Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, I rise to second the motion as moved by a very important man, manning a very important committee from Kano. God will bless you. Thank you, Mr. President. I second the motion.
All right. Those support the prayer that Senate do not consider this report, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Jubril Barrow. You have to present the report first. Have you presented it before? Huh?
Third reading is consideration.
You are too old in this business to be making this kind of argument. You have something to present which is before me.
Okay, Mr. President, the report.
If you're in a hurry, just do it in an outline, then we'll go to the consideration.
Everything about the report is as contained. Okay, the last. Okay, the committee found that the content and structure of the bill and those of other existing universities are similar. All the 26 clauses of the bill, including the long and short titles, the first and second and the third schedules, and the explanatory memorandum are similar. However, to bring the legislation in line with the University Miscellaneous Act and the Universities Autonomy Act, the committee has proposed the following amendments. The amendments are in clause 1, clause 5, clause 8, clause 9, clause 13, clause 22, clause 24, clause 25, and clause 26. Okay, conclusion, that everything is simplified, and as I said earlier, it's in line with other acts, university acts that were passed in this August Senate, and I therefore request that it should be given an expedited passage. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, in the absence of any comment, Senate Leader.
President, distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate resolves into a committee of the whole to consider the report.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to support that the Senate do resolve into the committee of the whole for consideration of the report.
Dear colleagues, those support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support that clause 1 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 2. Those in support that clause 2 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 3. Those in support that clause 3 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 4. Clause 4, any comments? Those in support that clause 4 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 5. Clause 5. Those in support that clause 5 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 6. Clause 6. Any comment? Those in support that clause 6 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 7. Those in support that clause 7 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 8. Clause 8. Those in support that clause 8 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 9. Those in support that clause 9 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 10. Those in support that clause 10 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 11. Those in support that clause 11 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 12. Those in support that clause 12 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 13, the visitor. Those in support that clause 13 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 14, removal of certain members of the council. Those in support that clause 14 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 15, removal and discipline of academic, administrative, and professionals. Those in support that clause 15 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 16. Those in support that clause 16 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 17. Those in support that clause 17 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 18. Those in support that clause 18 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 19. Those in support that clause 19 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 20. Those in support that clause 20 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 21. Those in support that clause 21 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 22. Those in support that clause 22 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 23. Those in support that clause 23 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 24. Those in support that clause 24 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 25, interpretation. Those in support that clause 25 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 26. Those in support that clause 26 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, man, are we moving too fast? Are you sure? I just want to be sure. Distinguished colleagues, first schedule. Those in support that first schedule stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Schedule 2. Those in support that schedule 2 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Schedule 3. Those in support that schedule 3 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum, page 39. Those in support that explanatory memorandum stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Short title. Those in support that short title stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Long title, page 1. Those in support that long title stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Stay leader.
Report progress.
Very distinguished colleagues, those in support that chair now report progress say aye. Those against saying the ayes have it. Dear colleagues, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Third Fund on the Maritime University of Nigeria, Okeren Koko Establishment, etc. Bill 2017, and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 25 as recommended, Schedules 1 to 3 as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Yeah. Thank you. Sir Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I move that the bill be read the third time.
Minority.
Distinguished colleagues, I second that the bill be read the third time.
Dear colleagues, don't support that this bill be read third time, say aye. Just against saying the ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the bill for an act to establish the Maritime University of Nigeria, Okeren Koko, and for other matters connected thereto, 2017, third reading.
Dear colleagues, before I put the question, let me commend the committee for a very efficient work that made our concentration quite easy this afternoon. And I'd like to commend all those who helped in packaging the bill and say congratulations to the young men and women of Nigeria that will benefit from this enterprise. I think we need to provide more opportunities for our people to receive education. And this is a special type of education, I believe, that will help to add value to our system, create jobs, and create more people who will be interested in making sure that this country moves very well. So I'd like to commend everybody involved, the senators this afternoon, for a show of patriotism that led us this far. So having said this, distinguished colleagues, let me read the bill for the third time. A bill for an act to establish the Maritime University of Nigeria, Okeren Koko, and for other matters connected there with third reading taken and passed. Congratulations. Senate Leader.
Congratulations, distinguished Senator Elder Manager, Jones Manager, who sponsored the bill. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the fifth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters on the Environmental Managers Registration Council of Nigeria, Establishment Bill 2017. Distinguished senators will recall that the report of the committee was laid on Tuesday, 28 February 2017. Mr. President, we wish to invite Ranking Senator Emmanuel Polka, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Sir Polka.
Mr. President, Senator Polka Emmanuel is my name, Bayelsa Central. I rise to move that the Senate do consider the report of the Committee on Establishment and Public Service on the Environmental Managers Registration Council of Nigeria, etc. Bill 2017 SB 88. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Hope Uzodinma. I represent the good people of Imo West. I rise to second the motion ably moved by distinguished Senator Park Emmanuel for a bill for an act to establish the Environmental Managers Registration Council of Nigeria as a body corporate and to empower the council, inter alia, to determine persons what standard of knowledge and skill to be attained by such persons and related matters 2017. I so second.
Dear colleagues, those in support that the Senate do not consider this report say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Walker, I have the floor.
Mr. President, the bill for an act to establish the Environmental Managers Registration Council of Nigeria was sponsored by distinguished Senator Francis. The bill was read the first time on Thursday, 15 October 2016. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, you may recall that the Senate in its sitting of Tuesday, 29 November 2016, debated extensively on the general principles of the bill after it was read the second time. The same was referred to the Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service for further legislative action. Mr. President, I'll just go straight to observations and findings. Mr. President, my dear colleague, at this junction, we hereby provide our observation to a finding which will no doubt lay to rest any seeming contradiction that exists between the Environmental Managers Registration Council of Nigeria, which the bill seeks to establish, and the Environmental Health Registration Council. Our observation and finding are as follows: that the proposed Environmental Managers Registration Council bill is intended to provide a legislative framework aimed at training environmental managers to provide solutions on the design and preparation of environmental management plan, environmental impact assessment, waste management plan, and to also regulate, register, and promote the training of environmental managers, graduates of environmental management program, while the Environmental Health Registration Council is saddled with responsibility of promoting the professional training of sanitary inspectors known as environmental health officers in the Environmental Health Science Program. That from the foregoing, it's abundantly clear what the roles of those bodies are different, and so the issues of duplication functions or conflict of interest does not arise. And that the Senate will consider and pass the bill in view of its importance to environmental management in Nigeria. Recommendation: the committee having subjected the bill to necessary legislative actions and taking full cognizance of the in-depth legislative processes to which the bill had passed through in the previous sessions of the National Assembly, hereby recommends that the Senate do consider the bill for a third reading and passage accordingly. I so move, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate resolves into committee of the whole to consider the report.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate do resolve into a committee of the whole to consider this report.
Dear colleagues, those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Dear colleagues, those in support that clause 1 start part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 2, page 2. Those in support that clause 2 start part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 3 at page 3. Clause 3, yes.
No, it's just a minor observation, sir. Minor, clause 3, paragraph B. 4 persons appointed by the minister charged with the responsibility of matter relating to the environment. Should be matters relating to the environment.
Secretary, please take notes. Those in support that clause 3 start part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 4, page 4. Those in support that clause 4 start part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 5, page 5. Those in support of clause 5, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 6, page 8. Those in support of clause 6, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 6? Go ahead. Okay, Secretary, take note. All right, those in support that clause 6 as amended, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 7. At page 9, those in support that clause 7, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 8, page 12. Those in support that clause 8, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 9, page 14. Those in support that clause 9, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 10, page 16. Those in support that clause 10, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 11. Those in support that clause 11, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 12, page 18. Those in support that clause 12, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 13. Clause 13. Any comment? Those in support that clause 13, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause what? 13.2, go ahead. All right. Secretary, please take note. Those in support that clause 13 as amended, standpoint of the bill, say aye. Those against, nay, say nay. The ayes have it. Yes. 13.1a, yes. One A. Judge. Secretary, take note. Those support that clause 13 as further amended, say aye. Sabbath of you, say aye. Yeah? Okay. Those support that clause 13 as further amended, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. To be Secretary, please, ultimately, even when we pass this bill, we may have to go through it, meticulously to ensure that all the sentences are correct and then the words are well written. Yes. Propose an amendment if you want. Tell us what you want us to do. The check is not defined. Okay, so what are we using now? Gross misconduct. Okay, Secretary, please take note. Clause 14. Those who support that clause 14, start part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause clause 15 offenses. Those in support that clause 15, third part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. 15 years. Go ahead.
They said a person guilty of an offense under this bill shall be liable, A, that's subsection A, on conviction in a court of law, in a court of lower than higher court, a fine not exceeding 10,000. Then, and where the offense is a continuing one, to a further fine not exceeding 5,000 for each and every day the offense continues. But what I'm thinking is that 10,000 appears to be too small. And then 5,000 naira. It depends on the gravity of the offense. So it cannot go higher than 10,000 naira? It doesn't matter the status of the court, but you have to look at the offense. Isn't it?
Yes, Senator Nala. It's okay. If you look at B, if you look at B, 4B there, which relates to High Court, instead of a conviction in High Court, a fine not exceeding 50,000 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years. So it's progressive. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the issue, I think the fines under these particular sections are too low. And I'm saying this because some of the offenses, environmental offenses, that some of these people are likely going to commit, are going to be of such magnitude that they could endanger human and community life. Therefore, I would suggest that we raise the bar in such a way as to deter the committing and continuous commitment of these offenses. Otherwise, people can easily go in and tamper with the environment and do gross violations to the lives and the life chances of others, knowing that at any time they commit such crimes, they will only be liable to paying first of 10,000, then and carrying 5,000 fine. While the amount of public injury that the committing of those crimes instill in the people is so gross, that remediation is going to cost a lot of money and it's going to cost a lot of chances in life, diseases, and other matters. So I think these fines, particularly given the issue that we are talking about, environment, is so gross that these fines are very low, in my own opinion, because they don't deter anything. Well, I would suggest, 50,000. Huh?
I would suggest that the fine should not be less than 5,000. So it should be at the discretion of the court to imagine the gravity of the offense as apportioned the amount of money, not less than 5,000. Not less than 10,000 and 5,000 accordingly.
The fact that there are no hard and fast rules as it relates to sentencing in criminal offenses. Now, if the law is intended to have some measure of general application, the man in Abuja can probably afford 5,000, but the man in Okerenko can afford 25. So what normally happens is that you put that which can get the test of universality. Then you leave the issue of relativism to the discretion of the judge. So I think that we are okay as far as this matter is concerned. The approach is really what the normal approach should be to legislative approach to sentencing, sir. Hold your answer. Wait.
Yes, Danny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Senator Polka that in the case of 4A, it should read that on conviction, a lower court than the High Court to a fine not lower than 10,000. So we have the prescribed minimum. You can't go below that minimum. But we don't have a prescribed maximum. It can be any amount. So it will depend on the gravity of the situation and the discretion of the court. So if we put it 10,000, not less than 10,000, it gives the judge a latitude to impose a higher punishment.
Okay. Those support that clause 15 as amended, start part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 16, supplementary provision. Those support that clause 16, start part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 17, page 27. Those support that clause 17, start part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 18, regulations, rules, and orders. Those support that clause 18, start part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 19, interpretation. Those support that clause 19, start part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 20, citation. Those support that clause 20, start part of the bill, say aye. No, we'll finish with interpretation. This we're now in 20, citation. Have any division to give to us so that we go back to 19?
There's a definition of gross misconduct in the public service rules and regulations. So we should adopt that, as part of this bill. And I think Senator Faulkner can be able to get that handbook so that that insertion can be made, for definition.
All right. Those support that clause 19 as amended, start part of the bill, say aye. So that those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 20. Those support that clause 20, start part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 1, Schedule 1. Those support that Schedule 1, start part of the bill, say aye. Schedule 1. Yes, go ahead.
Schedule 1, paragraph, subject to the tenure and qualification of members, subject to the provisions of this paragraph. A person who is a member of the council otherwise than by virtue of section 31D shall hold office for a period not exceeding 5 years, beginning with the date of his appointment or election, as the case may be, provided that a person shall not hold office, whether appointed or elected, for a term of less than 5 years. To me, it's a bit confusing. In one breath, you are saying should hold office for a period not exceeding 5 years. Page 32. You are saying you shouldn't exceed, you said hold office for a period not exceeding 5 years. And then downwards you are saying should hold office for a term not less than 5 years, unless the minister after consultation with the council otherwise directs. I prefer that you omit the proviso and just leave it for a time of 5 years as it is. Page 32, tenure of the member of the council should hold office for a period not exceeding 5 years. Simple. Why do you need to go into proviso?
What this provision anticipates takes two legs. The first leg is that you can be appointed and then you serve for a period not exceeding 5 years, not less than 5 years, which means 5 years is statutory a provision for your service. But it equally anticipates a situation where you are not being appointed, you are being elected. And then you say, despite the fact that you are not appointed, you are being elected, you should equally serve for 5 years. But it gives room for some democratic exercise of discretion on the part of the minister. For example, to exceed the time of somebody who has been popularly elected, to exceed 5 years. That is the necessary intendment here, sir.
I think the best thing to do is to remove the proviso, as suggested by. Yeah, no, it's not discretion. I think it's conflicting. Those support of Schedule 1 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Schedule 2. Those support of Schedule 2 to third part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Schedule 3. Those support of Schedule 3 to third part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Explanatory memorandum, page 43. Those in support that the explanatory memorandum to third part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The long title, 38. Go ahead.
Six. We wanted it should be two. There are 6 in number. There are 6. The panel may have a meeting.
Mr. Chairman, we need to clarify 2 issues here. Quorum of what body are we talking about? Because there is a council which has a quorum of 7. Then there is the tribunal. Tribunal is different from the council. So what we are saying is that the council has a quorum of 7. Now, what is the constitution of the tribunal and what the number of tribunals so that we can be able to determine the number correctly?
Quorum is 4. That should include the chairman. If you include the chairman, there are 3 others then.
The quorum of the council shall be 7, so that at least That is what I'm saying, because the mistake is fundamental. Oh, 33. Okay.
The concerns raised by my brother and friend, distinguished Senator Gobir, is if you constitute a tribunal of 4 people, and then it happens that in a decision, they are split 2 to 2, it means you cannot reach a decision. That's what I'm saying, sir. Yes, sir. It's not the constitution of it's the quorum, sir. What we are saying is that if the law allows the quorum to be 4, and assuming but without conceding that on a given matter we only had 4 to sit, and then they have split decision 2 to 2, it means they cannot reach a decision. So either we add a proviso that says that where there is a split decision in that situation, the matter should be referred back to the larger something, but we cannot leave it like that, sir. It will be 2 to 2, sir.
I don't seem to see any confusion. If the tribunal is 7, and then you have the chairman and 3 others, which is 4, chairman and 3 others, chairman usually doesn't have a vote unless there's a tie. So it's only the other 3 that are voting. So there can never be a tie. If you have 4, the 4 must include the chairman. And if there's no chairman, you have to elect somebody to chair. There's no way they can proceed without a chairman. So it is chairman and 3 others. Francis.
Mr. Chairman, when we are talking about the quorum is about quorum of 7. Even the Supreme Court said if a quorum of 6, it should be 2, and quorum of 7, 2.5. We don't have 2.5. The best if there is quorum, the quorum of 7 should be 3, including the chairman. We are talking of the quorum. We are not even talking of the entire members of the tribunal. So what we can do now is that the quorum of the tribunal, which is the members of the tribunal 7, the quorum of the tribunal should be 3. Yeah. Is what I'm saying now.
It's okay? Okay. 1/3. Okay. We should include the chairman. So with that, the quorum of the tribunal shall be 4, including the chairman. Okay. So those in support of 32 as amended say aye. So that against say nay. The ayes have it. Schedule. We'll go now to the the long title. Page 1. Those support the long title start part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Say leader.
I move that the Senate reverse plenary for the charge report progress.
I second, Mr. President, that the Senate do revert to plenary to report progress.
Their colleagues don't support that chair now report progress say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters on Environmental Managers Registration Council of Nigeria Establishment and Secretary Bill 2017 and approved as follows. Clauses 1 to 12 as recommended, 13 as amended, 14 as recommended, 15 as amended, 16 to 18 as recommended, 19 as amended, Schedules 1 to 2 as amended, 3 as recommended, short title as recommended, long title as recommended. It is a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole. Thank you. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, I move that the bill be now read the third time.
Mr. President, I second that the bill be now read a third time.
Dear colleagues, those in support of the prayer, the motion that this bill be read the third time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Environmental Managers Registration Council of Nigeria, to provide for code of conduct, professional ethics, and stipulation of minimum standards, and for other related matters, 2017, third reading.
Very distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Environmental Managers Registration Council of Nigeria, to provide for code of conduct, professional ethics, and stipulations of minimum standards, and for other related matters, 2017, third reading taken and passed. So once more, I'd like to thank you, distinguished colleagues, for ensuring that this bill passes through the third reading and now becoming law as soon as the President signs it. So I think these are a major contribution to the protection of environment and indeed the health and safety of our people. I just do believe that the operators of this act will help to ensure its full implementation, and believing that we'll continue to work in the interest of our country to provide necessary laws that we're able to protect our citizens such as this. So I'd like to thank those behind this bill and congratulate all of us for our commitment to serving this country. Thank you. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, having done so much, and maybe we have a little bit problem of some of our colleagues still going outside for other legislative activities, I will move that we step down the remaining items on the order paper till another legislative day.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I rise to second the motion that we will stand down the remaining items on the order paper till the next legislative day.
Those who are the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceedings on the order paper, I move that the Senate do adjourn till the 9th of May 2017 at 10 a.m. prompt.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do adjourn till 9th of May at 10 a.m. Tuesday. I so second.
Dear colleagues, those in support of the motion that Senate do now adjourn to Tuesday, the 9th day of May 2017 at 10 a.m. prompt, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senate is accordingly adjourned.